Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cold Hard Truth Podcast. I'm Jack Smith.
I'm Shrikar Rajendran.
I'm Anish Gupta.
And today we're going to be going over the NFL awards for the season and going over our Super Bowl picks and preview.
Let's start with the NFL awards. MVP, this is pretty easy. We're all going to go with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious.
One of the best seasons for a quarterback. Offensive Player of the Year. I think it boils down to Christian McCaffrey or Michael Thomas. Or Patrick Mahomes is also in the discussion. I'm going to go with Michael Thomas here.
Well, just quick note on MVP. It shouldn't be a regular season award, but it is. So, same thing with Offensive Player of the Year. I think if you included playoffs, I think it might have been a different story, but I think it's between those three. But I think Christian McCaffrey just wins it because people are forgetting how historic of a year he had. 2,000 yards from scrimmage.
But Michael Thomas had a historic year in his own sense. He broke the record for most receptions.
He was a Buckeye, of course. I know that. But Christian McCaffrey had both of it. He had receiving and rushing. And keep in mind, the Panthers were 5-3. And, he was the main cause of that. And obviously, the whole Ron Rivera situation shook him up. But I think Christian McCaffrey deserves it.
Yeah, and also one argument I make for McCaffrey is he played with Greer, Allen, and Cam Newton.
And his O-line wasn't that great either.
Yeah, but I'll argue that playing with a bad quarterback probably helped out McCaffrey because he just got the ball more. The passing wasn't really there, so they could lean on McCaffrey. Michael Thomas, I feel like they have Kamara. They have a lot of players, but they singled in on him. He set the single-season reception record, and he, 1,700 yards?
Yeah, I think, but it goes in, also bad quarterback means they're going to stack the box more. So
That's true.
It goes in both of their favors, I think.
I think the crazy thing about Michael Thomas is that, like you said, everyone knew that he was going to be the X factor in the passing game.
He had 109 more catches than any other.
And they still couldn't guard him. That's nuts to me. And I think that's why he should get Offensive Player of the Year.
See, and that's why I'm saying it is a regular season award, but think about it. In the playoffs, when it mattered most, he got shut down by Xavier Rhodes.
But it is a regular season.
Yeah, it is. But I still would go with McCaffrey, even despite it.
Yeah, mid-season I picked Thomas, and you guys all thought I was crazy. But now, I got to hop off my own prediction. I think I got to go with McCaffrey just because I feel like the yardage-wise, they were both really impressive, but I think McCaffrey wins it just solely based on the touchdowns he had. Because I think
also only 3 running backs have done that.
Yeah, that's
true. And Thomas did break the single-season reception record, but I feel like just what Christian McCaffrey was able to do, though it should be in the MVP discussion still, it's not going to be obviously because of Lamar Jackson's electrifying season. But I think Offensive Player of the Year should definitely go to him.
I think Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Stephon Gilmore. He was the best part of the highest scoring defense. He's an incredible lockdown corner. He's my favorite cornerback in the league, second to Sherman, just because I'm a Niner fan. But what do you guys think?
I think Stephon Gilmore should. It's he will win it, and I think I have no problem with it. But no one's talking about a guy that you guys wouldn't think about, like Chandler Jones.
Yeah, Chandler Jones.
8 forced fumbles. 8. That's insane. 8 forced fumbles in a year and then 19 sacks to go along with that. I'm just glad he got first team All-Pro because he deserved it. But yeah, he should be in the discussion. Though obviously the Cardinals didn't win anything, but they did have some impressive wins, right? They almost beat the Niners. They beat Seattle. I believe it was in Seattle too. And they, Cleveland's not that impressive, but they still shut him down pretty well, right?
Yeah.
An electrifying offense. And Chandler Jones was a big part of that. So
yeah, I think Chandler Jones is easily second on the list for me, just second to Gilmore. And the thing is, he plays in a smaller market team. He plays for Arizona.
Exactly, yeah.
No one really focused on Arizona other than Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray this year.
Yeah, I think it's... But, even then, I don't think people even have him second. I think they have him, maybe not even in their top 5. They'll probably throw in Aaron Donald just because it's popularity. Same with Khalil Mack.
Aaron Donald still had a pretty good season.
He did. But, was it really up to his caliber, though? I wouldn't say so.
But, Chandler Jones, you could go with Chandler Jones. Another guy I really wanted to see win it this year was T.J. Watt, who also had a really good season.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he might be my front runner for next year. But I think I should pick Gilmore, but I just can't envision a cornerback winning Defensive Player of the Year, and so I'm gonna go with Chandler Jones just on the idea that maybe it does happen.
Was that good
no. I don't even think people have Chandler Jones in there. I feel like they have Shaq Barrett maybe in there getting a few votes. Other defensive linemen,
Nick Bosa.
Yeah, Nick Bosa. They're probably gonna throw in some votes just because he's been so.
Minka Fitzpatrick. Too.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be so split, but I think everyone's going with Stephon Gilmore just because he's having such a great year and he's on a big market team in the Pats, and I think just how they do it. It is kind of also popular.
Well, yeah, Tre'Davious White did a lot of the same things that Gilmore did, but he plays for the Bills, not the Patriots. So, I think if you flip them around, Gilmore probably wouldn't be in the discussion. But I'm going to go with Chandler Jones just so we don't all have Gilmore and just in case something crazy happens.
I really hope he wins
Chandler Jones.
I hope he wins it.
This is all about who I think will win, not who should win.
Yeah.
I would love to see Chandler
But I'm
Jones
glad you're giving him his due. Dude, no one's talking about him.
Yeah.
And I think 8-4. Like I'm just still astonished by that number.
It was a great
I don't
rating.
see. I really don't see
But
that.
it's also funny that the leading sack getter in the NFL, like we didn't really even consider Shaq Barrett. It's just I feel like he didn't have a full
Well, he kind of
second half of the
kinda,
season.
exactly.
It wasn't-
But he still was consistently getting in there, but he just
Mhm.
didn't have that electrifying season as he did in
Yeah.
the first 4 games.
Yeah.
And I think comeback player of the year comes down to 3 players: Jimmy G, Ryan Tannehill, and Cooper Kupp. I know people are going to say Jimmy G here just because of the wins and all that stuff. I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill here. You know, you get labeled as a bust in Miami. You come to Tennessee, you step in for Mariota, and you completely transform that whole offense. And it's all about, like, where he was placed, what situation he was placed in. So I think Ryan Tannehill, I know it's a regular season award and all that stuff, but sending them to the AFC Championship game, sending them to the playoffs, like, that's an incredible feat in its own. And I'm going to take Ryan Tannehill here. And then I know people are going to credit Derrick Henry for all that stuff, but I think more credit should be given to Tannehill.
I think Tannehill was great for Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry's been doing this for a long time. A lot of people didn't see it. I was like, last 4 games, it's how you finish the season. But I think Cooper Kupp should have been it, but then he blew it away in the last half. He just didn't do any. I think he got held at no catches in a game. I think it was against Pittsburgh, but so yeah, he blew that. I don't think it's even close between Jimmy G, Tannehill, and him. I think he's far down third. But I think Jimmy G's just gonna win it because he played the full year, kind of like that. But I think it should be Tannehill because he was able to. They were 2-4. They just got shut out by Denver, right? And Mariota was just not working. And then they just throw in Tannehill, right? Just cause, and go 7-3, make the playoffs, and obviously get a few upsets. Even if it was a regular season award, I think he had the highest passer rate. I think he had the 4th highest of all time. And
he was super consistent,
exactly,
too.
yeah. And beat some good teams along the way, right? Texans, Chiefs. He had some good wins on his resume. And I think it should be Tannehill, but the problem is it's who do I think will win, right? Not should. So I think Jimmy G's going to win it just because of, again, it's there's a lot of this popularity, kind of big name status, big market kind of thing. And I think Jimmy G's going to win it just because he played the full year.
That's true. Tennessee is too small of a market, but, I think they got a lot more recognition
they
just by
established
making
themselves.
it to the...
And I think also just quick, with these markets, the NFL kind of is a lot better in the NBA in the aspect that even small teams in not the best areas like Buffalo, New York, right, or Tampa Bay, Florida, they're still able to make some noise, right, in the NFL. Whereas in the NBA, are you really watching every game from the Phoenix Suns? You're just not, right. It's not they're not really spurring any news. So I think that's really cool about the NFL. I think we all should appreciate more.
Yeah, and for comeback player of the year, I'm going to go off your list completely. I'm going to take Dalvin Cook, running back for the Vikings,
Ooh,
who had a
option.
tremendous season after really not playing a whole lot the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And, second best running back in the league.
Whoa,
I'm going to take him.
second best?
No, this year. Second best season. of
Okay,
anyone
yeah.
in the league.
Okay,
behind
I'll give
McCaffrey.
I'd say Derrick Henry because he had more touchdowns and more yards.
You
And
can
then-
make a great...
And you could even put Nick Chubb, but I think Dalvin Cook was more electric for the first half. Because
Yeah.
think about this. He had 3.7 yards per carry at the second half of the
Yeah.
season. So
But he
that's
kind of
why-
changed that offense a little bit. He was one of the most electrifying players on that
Yeah.
offense.
well, that was again for the first day.
Yeah.
I get what you're
But then
saying.
they started passing the ball a little bit more with Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins trying to make the
yeah.
playoffs. But Dalvin Cook had a great season. It kind of had some brutal injuries the last couple
Yeah,
of
the
years.
ACL.
You can make a great argument for Dalvin Cook for comeback player of the year, but the thing is, I think it's going to go to a quarterback.
I do too.
Yeah, and I think he blew it again. I think he blew it in the last few games.
Yeah.
See, I'm just picking who I think should get it. I believe one of the quarterbacks will get it because that's just how the NFL works. But
Yeah.
I think Dalvin Cook deserves this award, and so I'm giving him my award at least.
So, Anish, you're taking Jimmy.
I mean, it's who will win, right? But who
Yeah.
should win? It should be Tannehill. But I think Jimmy G will win it.
So I got Tannehill, you got Jimmy, you got Dalvin. All right. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. There are so many good rookies this year. You got
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, you got A.J. Brown, you got Miles Sanders, Kyler Murray. But I think Josh Jacobs is just going to win it just for, I think he transformed Gruden's offense. And when they drafted him as the 24th pick, they definitely had a vision for him. They saw him as a top running back. And I think his potential is just so, he has a really high ceiling as well.
Yeah, a lot of people actually didn't like that pick, considering he split carries at Alabama. But just what he was able to do under John Gruden. I mean, though and the Raiders did people are just going to look at the win total. I think they did improve in a lot of different ways, and they do get some defensive playmakers back like Jonathan Abram next year, and I think they're just going to only get better. But I think you mentioned all these receivers, how many times you've seen them make plays in big games. But I think it's going to go to Josh Jacobs just because again it's that first half of the year, it's just going to resonate with people because he got injured in the second half, didn't play many games, but he was still able to, I believe, surpass 1,000 yards. So I think Josh Jacobs deserves it, but you got to look out for these other receivers. I think they're gonna
Especially AJ Brown. You know.
Yeah, I think that the problem with giving it to
Don't
receiver,
forget Hollywood Brown too.
That's true.
Yep.
There were a lot of good rookie receivers this year. I mean, you can name a bunch of them, which is why I don't think this award will just go to one of them.
Yeah, they'll split
Because
the
no one
votes.
really stood out of all of them. AJ Brown, I think, had the best season of all the rookie receivers, but I don't think he stood out too much against all the rest of the rookie receivers. So I got to go Josh Jacobs too.
So we're all sweeping Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. So defensive rookie of the year. This is the easiest one for me. Nick Bosa. I think an argument can be made for Max Crosby of the Oakland Raiders too. He had a really
He had better
phenomenal
stats.
He
than
actually
Nick
had
Bosa
better
did.
stats.
But
Yeah,
the
he had
thing
more
is,
first fumbles.
We're talking
more
about
sacks.
impact on
Yeah,
the team.
and-
We're talking
and-
about pressures too.
Yeah,
Also
pressures.
think about it. But like, keep in mind this works in both ways because Nick Bosa, though he had more playmakers on the D line, so it was easier to get to the quarterback. Also, like the sacks had to be split, right? The forced fumble, all the stats had to be split.
And he
between
revitalized that defensive line.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he was the main component to glue all those first round draft picks together, right? Because
Mhm.
before they were just like they were a mess. They really didn't have the the proper kind of chemistry on that D line. When Nick Bosa came in, it just kind of gelled them all together. And now Solomon Thomas is playing better on the inside. It's just having a big kind of domino effect on the entire defensive line in a good way.
And
So I
another
think-
player I liked was the Pittsburgh Steelers' new franchise linebacker, Devin Bush.
And Bush was
Yeah,
also really
yep,
good.
yep.
But, I mean, Nick Bosa,
Brian Burns too was not
yeah,
bad.
Nick Bosa got in, had one of the best motors in the league, got some of the most pressures for a rookie I think we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Took this team to the Super Bowl. I mean, the Niners going from second overall pick, taking him to going to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
that's no coincidence. He was just that good, and so there's no denying that I think he's going to be the defensive rookie of the year.
And it was really crazy when I saw Jimmy G say that his injury last year was a blessing in disguise because if it wasn't for that injury, then they wouldn't have Bosa.
Yeah.
And it just shows how good that chemistry is, how much they really appreciate Nick Bosa.
Also,
on
think
this
about
team.
like the draft picks kind of trickle down, right? So they had early draft picks in each round. So they were able to take Debo second round. They were able to take Dre Greenlaw right in the fourth. So they
Fifth
were
round.
able, or sorry, fifth round. So they were able to take these players right earlier than they normally would throughout the draft, not just in the first round. So I think that also had a good effect.
And moving on to Coach of the Year, it comes down to Kyle Shanahan or John Harbaugh. And assuming this is a
Also,
regular
I think
season,
Mike Vrabel is a sleeper, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think he's gonna win it.
but if we're talking about a regular season award, I'm gonna go with Kyle Shanahan, just because it's about like the biggest jump that a team makes. I've said this before, but it's all the Niners were 4-12 last year. Shanahan was like he was at a crossroads, and basically the way he was able to turn around this team. And I mean, you could say it was in part due to talent and just Robert Saleh and his staff, but I think Kyle Shanahan, I think if we're talking about the biggest jump, I think he really deserves it.
Yeah, I did too. I was thinking John Harbaugh, and I know it's supposed to be a regular season award, but the voters can't stay unbiased towards what happened in the postseason. And Kyle Shanahan brought his team from second overall pick to the Super Bowl, and John Harbaugh lost in their first playoff game. And while that's not supposed to factor in, I believe it will. And so I'm going to give it to Kyle Shanahan.
I think Kyle Shanahan should win it as well, but I think like John Harbaugh, you can't just disregard it. And also Mike Vrabel should be in the discussion.
Of course, 14-2, AFC's number one seed. If we're saying regular season, he was the best coach.
We'll see.
But if I'm factoring everything in, I want to say.
I mean,
Kyle
I
Shanahan.
I was telling you guys like since we get like he should have, but the playoff loss I think is gonna because think about it. Voting lasted I think it was like 2 weeks prior, so I think that loss would still linger with people. And though it shouldn't affect them, it will. It's just how it is. So I think Kyle Shanahan will win it, and also just because he deserves it too. Like going from 4-12, 12-4, or sorry, 13-3. And I think it was a big turnaround for that team, and just they have a culture there where everyone knows their role. It's kind of what John Harbaugh is doing, except he's doing it in kind of a tougher division and honestly a tougher conference.
And also, I think an underrated aspect of both Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, who I think is going to win Executive of the Year, I think one of the most underrated aspects of their tenures was their drafting.
Yeah.
They drafted some really good players that, can run a franchise for about however long.
Oh, you guys are sleeping on two other guys. One of them is Jason Garrett, and the other one is Freddie Kitchens, I think.
You forget Adam Gase, too.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think those are some great candidates.
Yeah.
But I think Kyle Shanahan, I think we all agree.
Jay
Yeah.
Gruden.
Mhm.
Jay Gruden's my pick, actually. Flip it around. Got the Redskins.
He's
the
not even
number
that
2
bad
pick.
of a coach. Like, he's not even that bad of a coach, but, it just didn't work out there.
Yeah, I think Executive of the Year, it comes, we had John Harbaugh and Kyle Shanahan for coach. I think Eric DeCosta of the Ravens and John Lynch are going to fight that one out.
It's John Lynch. I don't
It's
think
John
there's
Lynch.
any chance that
Yeah.
he was that guy.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but
No question.
you could definitely make an argument for Eric DeCosta, too.
Yeah, you can, but
But
I guess
I'm gonna take
Again,
John
it's-
Lynch, but-
Again, it's like who knows it's recognition, right? Like John Lynch is getting all this like recognition for what he's doing, and I think that's why he's just gonna win it solely off of that. So, I think he still deserves to win too.
And so let's move on to our Super Bowl predictions. Kyle Shanahan, one of the two coaches in the Super Bowl, alongside Andy Reid of the Kansas City Chiefs. Who has the coaching advantage in this game?
I think
That's a really good
it's
question.
because both of them have choked in the playoffs, but I think it's tough because I think it's Andy Reid offensively, but defensively I think Niners overall have the advantage.
Solid.
But see, exactly, but that plays to their strengths, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the Chiefs good at on offense, right? And what are the Niners, how do they win games on defense? But I think, like, if we're looking at the Super Bowl, right, we've seen this so many times, right? Peyton Manning's electrifying offense broke the touchdown rate. I think they set 606, something like that in 2013. Go up against the Legion of Boom. Who won that game? Legion of Boom by a landslide, right? And then same thing with Cam Newton. Changed, like, mobile quarterback, right? Brought home the MVP, 15-1 record. Goes in, right? Kind of an underrated Broncos team that, had that, really good defense, the no-fly zone. Who won the game? The Broncos off their defense. So we've just seen this pattern so many times. And I think that's going to be that will help the Niners. And also, Chiefs are getting heavily favored by executives around the league, right? People are seeing that. Niners are going to see that. And they're going to use that to their advantage. And people like Richard Sherman, they're not going to take that. They're just not going to take that lightly. So I think that will fuel them. And that's going to give, I think overall, that'll also give them a coaching advantage out of the entire team.
What we should also look at is the battle between coordinators, Eric Bieniemy versus Robert Saleh.
No question.
And who has the better offense, who has the better defense, who's more coached, who's more disciplined. That should be another interesting matchup.
So, yeah, I think Andy Reid is one of the best offensive minds in the league. I would maybe put him at the best offensive mind in the league. And so I know he's going to see this Niners defense. He's going to watch a ton of film. And I think he'll be able to create some foils in the offense to be able to combat the Niners defense. It also comes down to if Robert Saleh can do the same thing for the Chiefs.
Well, keep in mind, like, the Niners will have to score points because the Chiefs in Patrick Mahomes' run, like, I think he's played, 3 playoff games now, right? Or four.
I think it's four.
And they haven't scored under 31 points once out of those 4. 31 points, like, that's crazy to me. Like, and so if you're the Niners, you have to build this first half lead because if they build it, they won't look back.
They've got to be able to run.
I think my biggest key...
And also, quick note on Mahomes, like, we had this debate on if he's the best quarterback in the NFL. We really haven't seen him down in big games. We really haven't yet.
Yes, we have.
Like, no, I'm saying...
Did you watch the Texans
24?
game?
No, I'm talking about the 24. I feel like I'm talking like second half games where it's really coming down. Like we saw against the Broncos, I think it was from Monday Night Football.
The Patriots AFC Championship last year.
It was kind of back and forth, you know what I mean? But like I think it was just like we haven't seen him in the fourth quarter, and I really hope we do get to see that because I want to see if Patrick Mahomes can really prove himself in that situation. Mm-hmm. And if he does, I'm fully on the bandwagon.
I'm going to give coaching advantage to the Chiefs just because of how highly I think of Andy Reid. But I mean.
But big games, see?
Yeah, that's true. I know that. But
and his coaching tree is great, but
he's experienced. He's going to get them ready, and I think he's going to create foils for their offense and hype them up a little bit. But also, I think Patrick Mahomes, as an offensive coach himself, did a really good job. And the fact that he's the team's hype man, he gets them all ready for the big games. I think his coaching experience and Andy Reid will give the Chiefs the
like the
24-0
hand. Thing you mentioned up. Like he was like, hey, let's be great, right? I think we saw that video when he was mic'd up, and I think just Andy Reid, also, like, quick note, like, when I say he chokes, it was just he wasn't able to get to the Super Bowl, right? So now he's finally back. I think he went there in 2004 with Donovan McNabb and T.O., and there was a lot of confusion and drama there and dysfunction. Here, it's different. Like, the team is rallying together, right? And I think, like, Skip Bayless was just hating on him, and, like, Tyrann Mathieu was like, dude, stop. Like, I can't say the words, but, like, he was like, they're seeing what analysts are saying. Also the Niners too, so it's going to be a really great matchup.
Yeah, and the thing is, Mahomes will make plays. It's just inevitable. He's just so dynamic. The thing is how the 49ers offense is going to respond.
I get that, but also he hasn't played a D-line this electric.
That's true.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
It's just with Kyle Shanahan, you better hope the Niners don't jump out to a 28-3 lead.
Yeah.
But let's move on to going back position group, seeing who has the upper hand. I think the first one's pretty obvious. Quarterback goes to the Chiefs. But the thing that will be important is how much better is Mahomes than Garoppolo in this game?
Well, see, we've seen Garoppolo throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns. We've seen him hit 400. But the thing is, I think they're going a different route. They don't, because Garoppolo's also lost in games, right? I think of Seattle. He underthrew that pass in overtime. He just didn't make enough plays. Obviously, he had some drops, but still, right? That play would have won them the game, right? I think we can all agree. So, we've seen Garoppolo lose them some games, but also we've seen him win them some games, right? Against the Saints, I mean, obviously George Kittle made that main play, but obviously who had to throw it, make the right read and stuff like that. But I think, Mahomes gets the advantage, but I think, like, don't count out Jimmy G. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw for 250, maybe 2 touchdowns or something like that.
And then running back will also, I think it's going to go to the Niners.
I'm
It's
guessing
very
not
Niners.
even close.
Not-
I don't
yeah.
think it's even
They're
close.
the most prolific rushing attack in the league.
I think
I'm
let's
just gonna
let's just go
Niners.
with running game.
running game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not even close because
And I think-
Damian Williams in the playoffs. I saw the stat a few days ago. I think he had 29 carries for 92 yards over the 4 playoff games.
But he
That
makes
is-
plays out of the backfield.
Yeah, but Mahomes is their leading rusher
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Like that. What? Niners are just so balanced in that way. I give it to him. Not even close.
That's why if I'm the Chiefs, I'm focusing solely on the run. Make Jimmy G beat me. If he can beat me, that's okay.
But see, teams the Packers couldn't even do it. Like
I know, yeah.
they were Jimmy threw it 8 times, and like think about it. In the second half, like okay, I mean, why don't we stop them from running the ball? They still couldn't do it. So I think I know what you're saying, but it's gonna be tough. It's a tough assignment.
And if we look at wide receivers, I'm gonna give it to it's got
I'd say go receiving game because tight ends, right?
Well,
I'll go
They
with
have
the
two best.
Chiefs. Although the Niners are just like
Let's include
improved.
tight ends in it. And
Well, I
I'm
think-
gonna take the Chiefs.
including tight ends.
Well, see, let's.
tough.
I think we should have tight ends as a separate because we know it's the 2 best, right?
Yeah.
So
We've
I think-
debated this a million
But I
times
think-
before.
Well, think about it. Like, I think Kittle's blocking will set him different because think about it this way: the Chiefs need Travis Kelce to have a good game receiving in order to win. Because think about it, I can't even remember the last time Travis Kelce had a good game a bad game and they won. I can't even remember. I think it's
last week he didn't do tremendous, or the
but he still
the
had it like
divisional game. Yeah.
But he it wasn't even George Kittle had I think he's had 2 catches the
Yeah.
entire playoffs. So that and he knows his role a bit. Like he has a more
You
established.
said this
role.
last time too.
Yeah.
He knows his role.
So I think both of us will give it to the Niners, but you'll give it to the Chiefs.
Are we
Yeah.
just talking about tight end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Travis Kelce.
But yeah, let's go back to the receivers. I think Chiefs have speed, but so do the Niners in a way.
Robert Saleh commented that they have just a bunch of Olympian relay runners, and
Yeah.
they just threw them on the Chiefs.
I think I would watch my mouth because they're gonna. I mean, they're some really they're dangerous players. Like they can,
Yeah.
they're really dangerous.
Like
on the field.
they're gonna run by you, and they still will.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, they've just got talent all around. Like and it's not even like Tyreek Hill has good hands too. Like people, I still remember Jalen Ramsey was like, "Oh, you're just a All-Pro punt returner or something like that," and he proved him wrong. So. We'll see. I think the Chiefs have it right now, but just again, you got to watch out for the Niners playing.
When we were talking,
just watch out.
When we were talking about rookies, one rookie receiver we didn't talk about was Mecole Hardman. How good he's been for the Chiefs.
Yeah, that kick return. I mean, I think you guys all saw that.
I think Tyreek is easily the best receiver in this game. I mean, I don't think it's very close between him and Emmanuel Sanders, but I think overall, I'm gonna give it to the Niners in this one, just because I feel like after Tyreek Hill, it kind of drops off a little bit. Keyword on drops there
Sammy
because
Watkins,
still
Mecole
get-
Hardman.
I think
okay,
also Niners had the problem with drops. I think that's really they've really squashed that problem.
I think the Niners definitely have a deeper wide receiver.
Yes.
Like
that's what I'm kind of hinting
you go
at. Yeah.
Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel, Kendrick Bourne, their red zone threat.
I mean, but think about
But
it,
the
like,
problem
it doesn't
is,
go that far down.
And the problem is,
Same
how many
with
times
Kansas
are they going to throw the ball to these receivers?
I think, but they will have to. They're gonna have to make some plays through the air. I feel like that's gonna be their kind of X factor, if you will.
So I think Chiefs have the high tier advantage, but when you take in the whole receiving core, I'm going to give it to the Niners.
And then let's go through O linemen. I think it's Kansas City, I think it's Kansas City in the passing game.
Yep.
But in the running game, it's not even close.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly
this
what I was
Niners
gonna
O
say.
line,
I agree.
like it's just been amazing. So I think there's 2 aspects to it. But see, we also haven't seen the Niners O-line in the passing game as much. And I think they could do just fine. But, Jimmy G was getting sacked a lot when we've seen him in big games.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gotten sacked like twice as much as Patrick Mahomes. So I think in terms of pass blocking, it has to go to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Run blocking, the Niners have the
close.
best rushing
Not even
attack.
close.
And that's a lot of credit due to the O-line.
Yeah. And then D lineman, I think both of
San
them-
Francisco.
It's San Francisco. It's not even. I think it's a little closer than people.
Yeah, that's
think.
what I was
Like,
gonna say.
Frank Clark, Chris Jones, like the Chiefs still have a good D lineman group. I mean, I think they're better in the passing game than they are.
But
in the
are
running
they as
game.
dominant as the Niners?
No. That's why.
Because the Niners D-line can just take over
Yeah,
games.
and I think they want you to pass the ball. I think that's what they like. They literally want you to. That's what's crazy to me. Like they will literally get after you and rush 4. Like they're just amazing in that. I think the Chiefs have they're a little susceptible to the run, but in the passing game, Chris Jones and Frank Clark, they're just
Chris Jones and Frank Clark are really good, but I will watch out for Terrell Suggs, and was probably his last game in the NFL. He made a couple plays in the divisional round. I would watch out for him. I mean, he's not as talented anymore than he was before, but I think he's gonna make an impact in the Super Bowl.
Let's see.
If we look at linebackers, I'm going to go with the hot boys. I'm going to go
Yep.
with the San Francisco 49ers. Quan Alexander,
Dre Greenlaw.
Fred Warner. They're also another deep group,
Yeah.
especially
And they
with
just
Dre
have
Greenlaw.
so much chemistry together.
And when Quan went down in Week 8, Dre Greenlaw stepped in.
Oh, yeah.
He made so many big plays, especially the one in Week 17 against
One,
Seattle.
that was the biggest one of their season. So
Mhm.
and he's
Arguably.
a rookie. Think about it.
But yeah,
I think, and they play with so much heart together. Like, and think about it, they've only been playing with 1 year together because Quan just came in.
Yep.
Dre's a rookie. They have so much chemistry. They're already trying to trademark Hot Boys. Like,
yeah,
I
they're
think-
selling merch. Like
Yeah,
it's
they're-
nuts.
they're going to be ready for this game. I mean, Quan's definitely hyped after that torn pec. I mean, he thought his season was over, and now he's
Yeah.
playing in the
But
biggest
the
game of his
Chiefs
life.
linebackers aren't bad either.
Oh, no,
but
no, no.
I don't think they're as good in pass coverage
Yeah.
as the Niners are. But if they can stop the run, it'll make things very interesting.
Yeah, but again, that's been their weakness.
Yeah.
That's-
mhm.
And then if we go to secondary,
Let's
I'm
see
gonna
it with
give it
just
to the-
corners.
Okay,
let's go with
yeah,
the corners.
Niners.
Niners have
Niners.
corners just pretty much because of Sherman
and Emmanuel Mosley, he's
Yeah,
making some big plays.
But the Chiefs are kind of just they're an interesting group of corners because none of them are
yeah.
super talented.
This is about who I would trust more in the big
Yeah,
games.
yeah,
and I
and
would
I-
trust the
it's-
Niners.
like,
more.
especially Sherman.
Sherman's
Yeah.
had what, 2 picks in the last 2 games?
But also, I mean, Tyreek Hill's a lot faster than Richard Sherman is.
But that's the thing. Like I saw this video like a few days ago. That also, like Richard Sherman knows that you're faster than him,
Yeah.
but he still can make up for it.
Mhm.
Like even though he's obviously coming off that torn Achilles up from 2 years back, but he's still been able to shut down these fast receivers. Like, I mean, I'm sure he was like, and also he was like practicing against guys like Percy Harvin back in the day, right?
Mhm.
Like he's used to fast guys. You know, obviously I'm sure in practice they put like Debo on him or someone fast against him, so he's kind of used to that. Obviously Tyreek Hill's
He also has the experience of being in the Super Bowl.
exactly, and I think
Niners
Tyreek
know
Hill-
all about that in the big games in the playoffs, huh?
Yeah.
No, but I think Tyreek Hill will have maybe a couple big receptions, 1 or 2 against Sherman. But after that, I think Sherman will be able to lock down Hill for
think
the
so.
majority of the game.
Look for the second half. I think that's where he's
Yeah.
going to take us. So let's go safeties. I think
I'm
I'm
gonna
going to give it
the
to
Chiefs.
the
I'm gonna
Chiefs.
give it to the
Tyrann
Chiefs.
Mathieu
Yeah.
just alone. But I mean, we shouldn't discredit the Niners because Jaquaski Tart and Jimmy Ward have both stepped it up big time
I
this
think
year.
like also just Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, he's playing like such a hybrid safety.
Yeah.
Like I've seen him, in the box as a strong safety, but also in coverage as a free safety. So like he's such a hybrid that they can use in both aspects of free safety and strong safety.
Yeah,
So.
Tyrann Mathieu reminds me a lot of like what I've seen from Jamal Adams when he's playing, especially in these playoffs. I would probably put Matthew as a top 5 safety in the league, and
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think they have the high end caliber safety. Is Juan Thornhill playing or is he still injured?
No, he's
still
hurt.
injured?
He's
That's
out for
what
the
I thought.
playoffs.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then the Niners just don't have the high bill safety,
Yeah.
the top paid guy. So I'm gonna give safety advantage to the Chiefs.
Yeah, Jamal Adams wouldn't know about the playoffs, but that's in the story for another day. I think also just give a shout out to Jaquaski Tart. I think he's had a good year. Same with
Yeah.
Jimmy Ward.
For sure.
But yeah, I think Tyrann Mathieu just makes those safeties just a whole lot better.
And
So-
I think our final predictions, I'll start. I'm going to take the 49ers by 1. And I think if I had to give a score prediction, I'd go 28-27.
I can't decide whether I want this to be high scoring or low scoring. I picked high scoring in last year's Super Bowl, and we all know how that turned out. But
What's
I
crazy
got
about
low scoring.
this game? What's crazy about this game is that the 49ers always start off hot in the first half and then slow it down in the second half.
Well,
and
that's-
the
well,
Chiefs
they were-
always start off slow and then pick it up in the
Well,
second
they were.
half.
I mean, Niners were keeping the lead though, so it's not even.
Yeah,
that
but I
trying to
mean
run the
a
ball.
general trend.
I mean, I think. What were your thoughts, Chad? Sorry, continue.
so I picked the Chiefs before the playoffs started. Y'all heard that.
Mhm.
And I want them to make me look smart in this game. I think they're gonna win. I just don't know how high scoring I want it to be. I'm thinking, like you said, they haven't scored
Under 30.
under 31, but I think that's gonna come in this game. I'm gonna go 24-20 Chiefs.
Okay, I think this Super Bowl is going to surprise a lot of people, and I think when we look at Kansas City again, I think you're falling into the trap of just like I could be wrong, but like I think you're falling into the trap again of the offense, right? Like Peyton Manning back.
No,
in the
I'm
day,
just
like,
sticking with my pick. I
Can
picked
you-
Chiefs
the
before.
thing
I'm
is,
sticking with them.
The Chiefs may have the best quarterback in the game, but the 49ers have the better overall team, which
Yeah.
is just why I want to go with the Niners.
But but my problem with that is they have the quarterback, and the quarterback can always be the difference in a
Mhm.
game. So I'm so torn between them, but I'm going to go with San Francisco because I just think their defense, they pride themselves on beating good quarterbacks. Like they've feasted on Aaron Rodgers. Kirk Cousins had a good year too, right?
Mhm.
They absolutely dominated him, and they've played like Russell Wilson. Also, he didn't make enough plays in that game to win because of the defense. So I think they pride themselves on that, and when they play Patrick Mahomes, they're just going to be. I feel like they're going to be extra motivated, knowing that they're underdogs in this game, and I think it comes down to, whether the Niners can score points on offense, and they're going to have. I'm gonna need some plays through the air. I think we can all agree there.
And just on that note of underdogs, they've been playing as the underdogs literally the whole season. They're used to
except
this.
in the playoffs, but yeah, I think
They're used to
yeah,
this.
exactly. But
And the thing is, they always prove those doubters wrong.
yeah, and
It's just in their
again,
blood.
and if again, I think Mahomes has a little bit of pressure on him. Because if he loses this game, you do have to question, right? Like, is he really the best quarterback?
People
right?
are gonna call
Yeah.
him overrated
Exactly.
and all that
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
See, but if he wins, I'm never doubting this man. Like, I tell you guys all the time, I need to see that Super Bowl win. So if he hosts that trophy, I will stop my doubt. But I'm predicting that it's not going to happen on Sunday. And I got the Niners by a score of 33-28. I got the Niners winning 33-28.
All right, let's end it off with your Super Bowl MVP prediction.
Oh yeah.
I
Okay,
think
so
for the 49ers,
It's so tough because
Okay,
it's
if Chiefs
always
win-
one player.
if Chiefs win, I'm going Mahomes. But if the 49ers win, I'm going with Nick Bosa or Jimmy Garoppolo. And in my opinion, it should be Jimmy Garoppolo. But it's so hard to predict.
Yeah, with the
Because,
Niners,
if we look back to that Super Bowl with the Seahawks and the Broncos, Malcolm Smith ended up being
Mhm.
Super Bowl MVP.
no, that's just because it was defense. It was literally someone. It had to be someone on the defense.
Yeah,
But,
it's
like,
just
did you
the
think
end
it
of
would
pick
go?
six, yeah.
Did you
It was
think
the
it would
pick
go to
six.
Malcolm Smith
At the end of the game,
before the game? Before
No.
the game. There you
That's
go.
why I'm saying it's
That's
so
why.
unpredictable with the Niners.
Mhm.
I'm not surprised with that. But yeah, since you picked the Chiefs, who would you say?
I'm going to take Mahomes just on the off case that the Niners win and my prediction's wrong. I'm going to take Richard Sherman. I think they're going to notice how locked down he was. I think he might have a pick or two, force a fumble or something like that. He's going to make a play in the end of the game if they win. And he's going to get Super
I don't
Bowl
think
MVP.
Patrick Mahomes has thrown an interception this whole playoff, so
Nope.
should be interesting to see. And I
This-
think the thing with the 49ers is there's always that one person that steps up in every game. We saw Raheem Mostert last
Exactly. See, that's
That's the-
for me. That's why. I think you picked. Who'd you pick? Jimmy G.
year. I picked Jimmy, yeah.
Okay, and then you picked.
I picked
I said
Mahomes.
Jimmy or
Yeah.
Bosa, but I
Okay.
think it's going to be Jimmy.
So if the Chiefs win, I'm gonna give it to Mahomes, and if he wins the Super Bowl MVP, also I can't doubt him because I value Super Bowl MVPs a lot, and I think Peyton Manning with only one, I think that plays a lot into his legacy. With also Big Ben not having two in every game he's won. For me at least, it has a lot to do with how you played in the big game. That's why I'm such a big Eli fan because he had those two Super Bowl MVPs, right? But I think when it comes down to this, I don't think it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think they're going to give him as much recognition unless, again, he goes for what I was saying, maybe 250, 3 touchdowns or something like that. I'm really torn, but I think it's going to be either Nick Bosa or, like you said, Richard Sherman. I think one of them is going to make a big play, whether it's a forced fumble or an interception, and that's going to maybe change the course of the game. Because I had it being a 5-point game, so I feel like it's I don't know if you guys remember this, but remember when Brandon Graham forced Tom Brady to fumble the football?
Yep.
Right then and there, you knew, okay, the Eagles got this. The Eagles have the momentum. It's they're not letting it go. So I think one of them is going to make the big play. I'm still torn between who's going to do it. And if Bosa wins it, guys, if he wins Super Bowl MVP, you've got to automatically got to put him in the top 5 of defensive linemen. That's a big award for a defensive lineman. It's a big award big recognition. Michael Strahan didn't even win it when the Giants won, so I think if Bosa can win it, it's a big deal. So yeah, I'm torn between Bosa and Richard Sherman, but I can't wait for the Super Bowl. It's going to be a great game, and I'm so excited to watch Super Bowl 54.
So thank you for listening to this episode. Like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments your Super Bowl pick or maybe your biggest NFL award pick. All we know about this Super Bowl, it's guaranteed to be better than last year's.
Let's hope.